Hello everybody. In this video we'll try to understand what happens when Jupiter is in Hasta nakshatra. So in order to understand this, we need to understand what is the energy of Jupiter and what is the energy of Hasta nakshatra. So in Vedic astrology, Jupiter represents wisdom and knowledge and dharma. Dharma is nothing but the righteousness, because Jupiter is the Lord of the natural ninth house, that is Sagittarius. Now, Jupiter also represents your teaching abilities, your guidance abilities, guidance giving abilities. Jupiter in Vedic astrology always represents the expansion. Jupiter expands whatever it touches as a fundamental rule in Vedic astrology. And if your Jupiter is a functionally benefic, it gives you a lot of fortune and also a lot of luck. Jupiter generally represents your spiritual understanding, your morality, your ethics, your prosperity, all this. So if in a person's horoscope, if Jupiter is strong and if it is functionally benefic, you can clearly see the person is wise, ethical, is philosophical. He can become a very great guide or a very good teacher. So Jupiter basically takes the flavor of the nakshatra it sits in, and it tries to expand the nakshatra's energies. Now here in our video, Jupiter is sitting in Hasta nakshatra, so you can see Jupiter expanding the qualities of Hasta nakshatra. So Hasta nakshatra, which is actually represented by a hand symbol, and it is placed in the sign of Virgo, especially in the heart of Virgo. That's from 10 degrees of Virgo to 23 degree 20 minutes of Virgo. Basically, the deity of Hasta is Savitur, one of the 12 Adityas, and the planetary ruler of Hasta is Moon. So Hasta is basically representing a kind of skillful hands energy. It's a creative ability, a craftsmanship, we say. It can represent manipulation ability. It can be good and tricky, anything. The manipulation ability can be represented by Hasta. And Hasta represents intelligence and practical skills. Hasta is nothing but the power to manifest things with hands and mind as well, right? So Hasta means a skillful personality, because the hand represents power to shape the reality, right? It has the ability to build the things. It has the ability to heal, ability to control the situations. So, and even Hasta energy can create opportunities. It's always about some kind of practical skill, because you're doing it with your hands. You have some kind of skill. Basically, Hasta represents some kind of skills, some practical skills, not some abstract skills. These are all practical skills. When Jupiter is in Hasta, it shows some kind of wisdom that is becoming a practical skill, right? Instead of just philosophy, because Jupiter is about philosophy, instead of just saying some philosophy, the Jupiter, the wisdom is becoming a practical skill here in Jupiter, when Jupiter is in Hasta. So the person applies knowledge in practical ways. The person applies wisdom in practical ways. That is a fundamental energy. And what is Savitur here? The deity of Hasta is Savitur. It's one of the 12 Adityas. It's a form of the sun, we can say. The Savitur basically represents some kind of awakening intelligence, because the intelligence is not just in your mind, it is much more awakened, that it is becoming very practical. It's a kind of creative power. It's a life-giving energy. That is Savitur. It's a divine inspiration, we say. So Savitur is generally connected to Gayatri mantra. So in Vedic philosophy. So when Jupiter is here, it is a kind of divine intelligence. It's a creative wisdom. It's the ability to inspire others through your work. And It's something like you're getting some kind of blessings through your teaching, or you're getting some blessings, uh, by your teacher. So basically, I can see people with Jupiter and Moon, this Moon's nakshatra, this hasta nakshatra, they influence others very, very positively. They can influence others very, very positively. And this particular combination, Jupiter and the Moon's nakshatra, that is hasta, it can create a clever and skillful, intelligent personality. So the person can be very intelligent, I would say, can be a skillful communicator, a very good teacher, a person with some good healing abilities with hands, a practical wisdom. That's what I'm saying, practical wisdom. It can be a very good writer. He can do surgery very nicely. He can be very good with hands, art, crafts, right? So these people can excel in teaching, medicine, astrology, writing, craftsmanship, or business strategy, and all this. Basically, they turn knowledge into some kind of practical results. They turn the wisdom into some practical results. And what can be the negative? See, hasta is always about technique, some kind of tricky behavior, right? So Jupiter can sometimes create over cleverness, right? Especially when Jupiter is afflicted or having some malefic aspect. Affliction means a planet present on the Rahu Ketu axis. Malefic aspect in the sense, Saturn and Mars aspects are called as malefic aspects in Vedic astrology because irrespective of Saturn and Mars are functionally benefic or functionally malefic to your ascendant, their aspects are treated as malefic in Vedic astrology. So in that case, it can also give some kind of manipulative behavior. Jupiter and Moon people, this Jupiter in Hasta Nakshatra people can manipulate others, use knowledge for their advantage. It's kind of political intelligence, I can see. So over cleverness, right? So something like manipulating people through wisdom, or they pretend to be spiritual, but they are not actually spiritual, right? And they use knowledge for power, right? So that is the fundamental negative things I can see, especially when this Jupiter is afflicted or having some malefic aspect. So other than that, it's a kind of good placement. They can success in lot of fields, because when your wisdom is becoming a practical skill, what else you want? You can become a doctor, astrologer, teacher, writer, healer, craftsman. You can be a business strategist, can be a diplomat. You're very good with your hands, basically. You can turn your wisdom into some practical skill, some manual skill, right? Very, very good thing, I can say. So, if this particular combination, Jupiter and Hasta, can give the art of speaking very, very intelligently. They can give some practical advices. They can help others to solve their problems, right? And they can control situations very, very quietly, and they like it as well. They may influence people behind the scenes. And instead of just theory, it is all practical, basically. That is a main maturity you have here in this particular placement. It's not about talking, it's not about implementing, practically doing it, right? The healing, if they do healing, they just don't talk about it, they do it. They do service, they help others, they do practically. If they are into spirituality, they don't want to talk about spirituality much. They want to put it into practical things. It's a practical spirituality, right? So by practical spirituality, you mean the mantra siddhi, you mean a kind of spiritual awakening, right? So many healers, they really heal. It's not like this person is a healer. The moment you say this person is a healer with other combinations, the person would start talking about healing. He feels that he is a great healer and he talks about it. But this Jupiter in Hasta is not like that. Okay, healing is great, let's do it practically. Right? So Jupiter in Hasta person is a real healer, it's a practical healer. Right? They're good with hands, they're good with their nervous system, is all. Right? The hands coordination, hand and mind coordination and all. So here Jupiter can create some kind of stress also due to overthinking, because you have wisdom, all the wisdom cannot be put into practicality, but if you think about it more deeply, you get a lot of stress. Right? So basically the person is a wise healer. The person, you can see as here Jupiter also talks about practical skills. Right? Jupiter knowledge or Jupiter wisdom is turning into some kind of service, some kind of practical skill. So this wisdom of Jupiter is not an abstract thing or not limited to the speech or words. It is put into action. That's what I want to tell you. So if I want to give some kind of skillful work to somebody and I want to see some practical results, I will try to give that work to a person with Jupiter in Hasta. A person can put the wisdom into practicality. Right? So practical wisdom, that is what Jupiter in Hasta means. Other than that, I don't see anything much about this placement. And we talked about the negatives of this one, right? The over cleverness, especially when it is afflicted or if it has some malefic aspect. So, right? The over cleverness or manipulating behavior or pretending to be spiritual, these are all some of the negative things that we already talked about. Other than that, it's good. It's a good placement. But what I need to observe here is one thing, the intensity of this placement. Somebody is having Jupiter in Hasta and that house is in the 6th house. And the Lord of the 6th house does not have good dignity. Then the person's mind and hand coordination would not be very good. Right? So the Lord, if Sun is the Lord here, right? Let us say here Hasta is in the sign of Virgo, in the heart of Virgo. So Mercury is the Lord here. Sun is not the Lord, Mercury is the Lord. So as Mercury is the Lord, now just imagine if this Mercury is debilitated somewhere. Is in the Pisces. And this particular Mercury does not have enough energy to nourish this Jupiter sitting in Virgo. And Jupiter does not even getting enough nourishment. So it's a kind of imbalance. The coordination between mind and hands is not very much nourished. Right? So the person has to look for this kind of things and empower that Mercury so that it can give enough nourishment to Jupiter. That's what I can tell. Other than that, it's all good. Thanks for watching this video.